Street Underdogs by Lewis Critchley.
City streets, day. We hear the hustle and bustle of city life, honking cars, chatter of passers-by, and barking dogs. Rascal, a scrappy but charming mutt, our hero, scurries down the sidewalk, dodging pedestrians. Just another day in the life of a street dog. Gotta stay quick on your paws in this concrete jungle. Rascal pauses outside a corner cafe, sniffing at delicious scents wafting from the kitchen. A cat darts by and hisses at him.
Whoa there, Whiskers. We're all friends here on the streets, capiche?
The cat scampers off with an indignant meow. Rascal chuckles.
Cats think they're so much better than us dogs. But when the dinner bell rings, we're all just hungry mouths to feed. And speaking of dinner, Rascal trots up to the cafe's back door, scratching and whining. A kind-faced chef opens the door, smiling at the eager pup.
There's my favorite four-legged customer. One sec. I got a treat for you.
The chef disappears inside, returning with a meaty bone. He tosses it to Rascal, who snatches it up happily. Grazie, boss man. You're a real saint, you know that? The chef chuckles, not understanding Rascal's words, but amused by his antics. Rascal scampers off with his prize. City, park, day. Rascal joins his scruffy best friend Buster, a tough older dog, under a park bench, gnawing on the bone.
You know, if you put as much effort into marking your territory as you do working over restaurant staff, you might actually earn some respect around here.
Oh, come on, Buster. You know my charms are my greatest asset. Why waste time picking fights when a wink and a wag can fill your belly?
Mark my words, kid. The day's gonna come when you need more than a slick tongue to get out of trouble. This city ain't all sunshine and table scraps.
Yeah. But until then, I'll take living life one tasty morsel at a time.
Rascal stretches out, soaking up the warm sun. His eyes drift closed. Buster's always going on about how tough life is for a street mutt. And I get it. I've had my fair share of cold nights and close calls with animal control. But overall, it ain't so bad. Freedom to roam, no rules to follow. Just living life on my own terms. What more could a dog want? Rascal's musings are cut short by a commotion across the park. Angry shouts and a dog yelping. Rascal jumps up to see a fancy poodle being chased by a red-faced vendor. Oh. Looks like Miss Priss over there bit off more than she could chew. Better go see what the fuss is about. Against Buster's protests, Rascal races off toward the scuffle. The vendor has the poodle cornered, threatening her with a broom.
You mangy mutt. Try to steal from my cart, will ya? I'll teach you a lesson.
The poodle cowers, trembling. Rascal skids to a halt between her and the vendor. Whoa, easy there, pal. Can't you see the poor gal's sorry? How about we all take a deep breath and talk this out like civilized folks, huh?
The vendor, not understanding Rascal, keeps yelling and swinging the broom. Rascal deftly dodges, then with a mischievous grin, grabs the broom in his teeth and takes off running.
Hey, get back here, you lousy flea bag.
The vendor chases Rascal, forgetting all about the poodle, and once he's led the vendor on a wild goose chase, Rascal drops the broom and doubles back to check on the frightened dog.
You okay there, sweetheart? Gotta be careful round these parts if you ain't used to living on the lam.
I'm not sure what came over me. I was just so hungry and that meat pie smelled divine. But I've never stolen anything before in my life.
Rascal gives her a sympathetic nuzzle. First time on the streets, huh? Don't worry, it gets easier. Till then, stick with me and I'll show you the ropes. The poodle looks up at Rascal with grateful eyes. Rascal puffs up proudly. Yes, sirree, just call me the knight in shining armor, always ready to rescue a damsel in distress. Chivalry ain't dead, folks. Not as long as Rascal's around.
Thank you ever so much. I don't know how I can repay you for your kindness. If my owners knew I was out here mixing with...
Riff-raff? Street mutts?
Oh, I didn't mean...
Nah, you're right. I ain't exactly high society. But trust me, honey, out here, it don't matter what side of the tracks you're from. All that matters is sticking together. Speaking of which, what's a classy pup like you doing flying solo? Ain't you got a cozy home to go back to? The poodle's ears droop.
Not anymore. My owners left me at a shelter when they moved away. I managed to escape that awful place, but now I don't know what to do or where to go.
Seeing the poodle's distress tugs at Rascal's heartstrings. He gives her a comforting lick. Chin up, princess. I know it seems tough now, but you'll get the hang of street life in no time. And until you do, you can stick with me and Buster. We'll watch out for you. The name's Rascal, by the way.
I'm Charlotte, but everyone calls me Lottie.
Well then, Lottie, what do you say we rustle up some grub? Can't plot our next move on an empty stomach. Rascal starts trotting back toward the cafe, then pauses and looks over his shoulder. And hey, for what it's worth, those owners of yours were fools to give up a dame like you. Their loss is my gain. Lottie blushes beneath her fur as she trots after her rescuer. City streets. Day. Rascal shows Lottie the tricks of scavenging for food, begging at cafes, giving sad puppy eyes to passers-by, sneaking into restaurant back alleys. They laugh as they dart through traffic and explore hidden corners of the city. Oh, I gotta hand it to Lottie. For a pampered pooch, she's a quick learner. Of course, with yours truly as her trusty guide to the streets, she's getting taught by the best. And let me tell ya, it feels good to have a new friend to pal around with. Especially one as easy on the eyes as Lottie. There might be more to life than meaty bones after all. As the sun starts to set, Rascal leads Lottie to a secluded alleyway with a view of the river. Well, home sweet home. It ain't the Ritz, but trust me, this spot's primo for a good night's sleep. Dry, out to the wind, and the river makes a nice nightlight. Lottie looks around skeptically.
I suppose it's better than that dreadful shelter. Thank you, Rascal, truly. You've been kinder to me today than I deserve.
She nuzzles against him sweetly before curling up in a cardboard box. Rascal feels a wave of affection, but plays it off with a joke. Thank me. Nah, you earned your keep out there today, missy. The way you charmed that hot dog vendor. I ain't never seen nothing so slick. They both chuckle as they settle in for the night. Rascal watches Lottie drift off to sleep. Look at her, like a delicate rose petal, too soft for these mean streets. I know she's out of my league, but I can't help feeling like it's my job to protect her now. Buster always said I was a sucker for a pretty face. Maybe the old boy's right. But is that such a bad thing? Rascal yawns, letting his own eyes close as the city grows quiet. One thing's for sure. With Lottie around, life just got a whole lot more interesting. Guess my carefree solo days might be numbered. But you know what? Bring it on. Rascal drifts off to sleep, snoring softly beside his lovely new companion as a train whistles in the distance. City Park. Day. Rascal awakens alone in the alley, momentarily confused. Then he remembers Lottie. Lottie? Hey, where'd that girl get off to? Didn't think the princess type was an early riser. Rascal sets off in search of Lottie, sniffing around their makeshift camp. Her scent trail leads to the park. As Rascal approaches, he sees Lottie cornered against a tree by a pair of tough junkyard dogs Bruiser and Fang. They loom over her menacingly.
Well, well. Looky what we got here, Fang. A lost little lamb, ripe for the picking.
Oh, what's the matter, sweetheart? Daddy's money can't help you, no.
Lottie trembles, trying to look brave.
Please, just let me pass. I don't want any trouble.
Hear that, Fang? She don't want trouble.
The dogs laugh cruelly. Bruiser presses closer to Lottie.
Too bad, Princess. Trouble's what you got the second you stepped into our territory.
Just as Rascal is about to leap to Lottie's defense, a loud whistle pierces the air. It's Buster, coming up behind the junkyard dogs.
Bruiser, Fang. Why am I not surprised to find you two flea bags harassing a lady? The girl's with us, so back off, for I teach you some manners myself.
Bruiser and Fang turn to face Buster, hackles raised. But they're suddenly less confident facing the grizzled older dog.
Oh, Buster, we was just having a little fun. No need to get bent out of shape.
Yeah, we don't want no trouble. Come on, Fang, let's bounce. This little bitch ain't worth it.
Still grumbling and blustering, the junkyard dogs slink away. Lottie sags with relief. Rascal rushes over to her. Lottie, you okay, doll? When I woke up and you were gone, I got scared that...
She's fine, kid. No harm done. But this is what I meant about the streets being tough. Especially for a pretty little thing like Lottie here.
I can't thank you enough, those horrible brutes. I don't know what I would have done.
Buster gives her a gentle headbutt.
Don't mention it, Missy. You're rolling with us now, and that means you're under our protection.
Ain't that right, Rascal? You know it, Buster. Anyone messes with our girl, they're messing with us. Rascal presses close to Lottie, still uneasy at how close a call she had. Lottie leans into him gratefully.
My heroes. Whatever would I do without you?
Lucky for you, you ain't ever gonna have to find out. You're stuck with us now, love. Rascal and Lottie gaze at each other, a new intimacy blooming between them. The trio sets off together into the city, Rascal and Lottie pressing close while Buster leads the way. A new little street family taking on the world side by side. Busy city sidewalk. Day. Rascal, Buster and Lottie trot down the sidewalk, dodging pedestrians and begging for scraps. They make a good team. Rascal's charm, Buster's smarts, and Lottie's irresistible cuteness. Would you get a load of the howl, folks? At this rate, we'll be eating like kings by sundown.
Don't get too cocky, kid. The day ain't over, and the streets have a way of throwing curveballs.
Suddenly, a speeding bicycle comes out of nowhere and nearly runs Lottie down. She yelps, leaping out of the way just in time. The cyclist shouts angrily over his shoulder.
Stupid mutt. Out of my way.
Rascal sees red. He takes off after the bicycle, barking furiously and nipping at the wheels.
Rascal? No! Leave it be!
But Rascal doesn't listen, too riled up at seeing Lottie threatened. The cyclist swerves, trying to shake off the snarling dog. He loses control and wipes out, sending Rascal tumbling too.
Rascal? Oh no.
Rascal lies stunned on the pavement. Buster rushes over, nosing at his friend.
You knucklehead! What were you thinking? I told you to let it go. Oh!
Ugh. Sorry, Buster. Lost my head for a second there. But he almost hurt Lottie. The cyclist jumps to his feet, fuming with anger. He points accusingly at Rascal.
That mongrel is dangerous. Somebody get animal control. He should be locked up before he mauls somebody.
Your small crowd starts to gather, muttering about the vicious dog. Buster nudges Rascal.
Come on, kid. We gotta scram. When the dog catchers show up, it'll mean the pound for sure, and there ain't no busting out of that joint.
I'm okay. Let's split. The trio tears off down an alleyway, putting as much distance as they can between themselves and the accident. Once they're safely away, they collapse in a heap, panting.
Goodness, that was close. Rascal, darling, are you quite all right?
Ain't nothing can keep me down for long, sweetheart. Just a scratch. Foster cuffs him on the ear, exasperated but relieved.
You're gonna be the death of me, you crazy pup. What have I? Here is the next 15,000 words of the story. I was told you about keeping that temper in check. The humans don't understand us, and when we act out, it's a one-way ticket to the big house, or worse.
I know, Buster. I know. Won't happen again. Lottie licks tenderly at a scrape on Rascal's shoulder.
Oh, Rascal, what you did was foolhardy and reckless, but also terribly brave. Thank you for defending me, my darling boy.
Warmed by Lottie's affection, Rascal can't help but puff up proudly. Ain't nothing to it, Lottie, my love. You're my girl now, and I'd take on every wheel in this city to keep you safe. They nuzzle lovingly. Buster watches their display with a mix of fondness and concern.
Look at those two lovebirds. Young hearts'll always find each other, even in a hard-luck world like ours. I just hope their bond is strong enough to weather the storms ahead.
River Pier, night. The three dogs walk along the moonlit pier. Bellies full from another successful day of foraging, Rascal and Lottie lean into each other, tails intertwined. Buster walks a bit ahead, lost in thought.
It's so peaceful out here tonight. Hard to believe a place of such beauty exists in the middle of the big city.
Stick with me, kid. I'll show you all the hidden gems. Eken an inch of these streets I don't know like the back of my paw. Suddenly, angry shouts echo from a docked houseboat. The dog's ears perk up at the sound of things breaking. A sound pop and the man and woman are in a vicious argument.
You're a no good drunken bum and I'm done with you.
Crash! A bottle smashes.
Oh yeah? Well, you're nothing but a nag, and I'm glad to be rid of you.
The door to the houseboat bursts open, and the man stumbles out, taking a swig from a bottle. He looks around wildly, and his eyes land on the dogs.
And I'm taking the damn Mutt with me. Come here, you mangy cur.
He lunges for Buster. Quick at a flash, Rascal leaps between them, snarling and snapping. Back off, you drunk fool. Keep your hands to yourself. The man yelps, falling back on his rear. The dogs take advantage of his confusion to race away down the pier.
What the hell, Rascal? I could have handled that mook on my own.
I know you could have, but now we're even for earlier. Nobody threatens my family and gets away with it.
Oh, how dreadful. Is this what life is always like for you? Constantly on guard, fleeing from danger?
Oh, come on now, Angel Face. Danger's my middle name. I'm just sorry you had to see that ugliness back there. But don't worry, you're safe with us. Buster shakes his head as they slow to a walk, putting distance between themselves and the domestic dispute.
I don't know, kid. Sometimes I wonder if you've got more guts than sense. What is it with you and playing the hero all the time?
A fella's gotta stand for something, don't he? I ain't gonna sit back and watch innocent folks get pushed around, not if I can help it.
Noble sentiments, but they won't count for much if you get yourself killed with this hero complex.
The world's full of bullies, and you can't fight 'em all. Maybe not, but I ain't gonna stop trying.
My brave, foolish darling.
Lottie licks Rascal's cheek. Buster rolls his eyes, but there's undeniable pride mixed with his worry.
The kid's got a heart as big as they come. I'll give him that. There ain't many Mutts who'd risk their own neck for a stranger. I just wish he'd use his head as much as his teeth sometimes.
The trio walks on into the night, sticking close together. Back alley, Rascal, Lottie, and Buster are curled up together, sleeping off another big city night. The sun creeps over the rooftops. Buster is first to stir.
Another day, another hustle. Wonder what new trouble that pup's gonna land us in this time. But I'll be damned if watching him and Lottie ain't got me feeling a spark I thought was long gone.
Those two knuckleheads make me want to believe in something again. Before Buster can wake his friends, a commotion echoes from the entry to the alley. Fearful whining and cruel human laughter. Buster creeps to the corner and peers around it. A ragged, limping stray dog is surrounded by a trio of laughing young punks. They're poking at the terrified dog with sticks, taunting it as it cowers.
Not so tough now, are you ugly? Think you can steal from us and get away with it?
Let's teach this flea bag a lesson! Get him!
They descend on the dog, beating it viciously as it yelps in pain. Buster sees red. He slinks back to where Rascal and Lottie are just starting to wake up.
Rascal, Lottie, on your feet. We got trouble.
What? What's going on, Buster?
My goodness, what is all that awful noise?
Some poor mutt's getting worked over by a bunch of two-legged rats. I'm gonna break it up. You two stay put, you hear?
The heck I will. I'm coming with you.
And I as well. We're in this together.
Buster wants to argue, but there's no time. He just growls, "Stay close," before running around the corner, Rascal and Lottie on his heels. The scene that greets them is even worse up close. The stray is on the ground now, whimpering as the punks rain down kicks and laughter. Buster lets loose a thunderous bark.
Hey! Pick on someone your own size, you filthy cowards!
The punks turn, startled by the intrusion. Buster advances on them, fangs bared in a vicious snarl. Rascal and Lottie flank him, hackles raised. You heard him, dirtbags. Back off or get bit. The punks look between the three growling dogs, suddenly not so sure of themselves.
Oh man, where'd these mutts come from? I thought this one was alone.
Who cares? I ain't getting rabies over some lousy strays. Let's split.
Yeah, this ain't worth it. I'm out.
The punks take off running, tripping over each other in their haste to get away. Once they're gone, Buster, Rascal, and Lottie rush to the injured stray's side.
You poor thing, are you all right?
Easy now, pal. You're safe. Those punks can't hurt you anymore.
The stray lifts its head weakly. One eye is swollen shut, and it's clear from its laboured breathing that the beating broke some ribs.
Thank you. I thought I was done for. Those kids, they've been terrorizing every stray they find for weeks now. Roughing us up, stealing what little food we got.
Yeah, well, they picked the wrong dog to mess with today. What's your name, friend?
Scout. Been on my own, ever since my human died.
Scout's head slumps back to the pavement, exhausted by the effort of speaking. Lottie nuzzles him gently.
Poor dear, you're not alone anymore. We'll take care of you now.
He's in real bad shape, kid. We can't just leave him out here to fend for himself. Oh, what do you want to do,
Rascal looks around, his clever mind racing. His eyes land on a half-collapsed cardboard shelter tucked in the back of the alley. There. We'll get him in out of the elements and watch over him till he's back on his paws. Between the three of us, we ought to be able to scrounge up enough grub to keep us all fed.
Oh, Rascal, you're so good and wise. Of course we must help him.
Even in the direness of the moment, Rascal can't help but sit up a little straighter at Lottie's praises. Buster shakes his head.
All right, Casanova, enough preening. Help me get this poor fella moved before those creeps come back with reinforcements.
Working together, the trio manages to half lead, half carry Scout to the shelter. They settle him on a scavenged blanket, Lottie curling around him comfortingly. You rest now, pal. We gotcha. Ain't nothing more gonna happen to you. Not while we're around. Scout's good eye finds Rascal's, filled with pained gratitude.
I don't know how to thank you. So long since anybody showed me kindness.
Don't mention it. It's the least we could do. Exhausted, Scout drifts into a fitful sleep. Buster and Rascal exchange determined looks as Lottie keeps watch over their wounded new friend.
Well, it looks like this little family of ours just grew by one. We ain't gonna be easy keeping all our bellies full and our skins intact. But with Rascal leading the charge, I know we got a fighting chance.
Never thought I'd see the day when I started believing in miracles again.
City Park. Day. At a bright, lazy afternoon on Kyoto. Scout rests on a grassy patch, while Rascal, Lottie, and Buster, Zweiss, take turns bringing him food and water. His wounds are healing well, and his spirits seem improved by the trio's care.
There you go, pal. Choicest hot dogs in the city, fresh from the vendor's cart. Eat up now. Gotta get your strength back.
I'm telling you, Rascal, you and your crew are a regular bunch of angels. I'd have been a goner for sure if you hadn't come along when you did.
Oh, we just did what any folks with a heart would have done. Wrong's wrong, and there's too many out there willing to look the other way where they see it.
Our Rascal can't abide injustice of any sort. He's got one of the biggest hearts I've ever known.
She gazes at Rascal with frank adoration. Rascal flushes beneath his fur, overjoyed and humbled by her praise. Buster notices and chuckles to himself.
Easy there, lover boy. Don't go getting a swelled head now. Hey.
Scout watches the exchange curiously before something clicks in his eyes.
Seems to me you three are more than just a crew. You move like a pack, or dare I say it, a family. Now there's a rare thing among strays.
Rascal and Lottie look at each other, surprised but deeply warmed by Scout's observation. You know, I never really thought about it like that. But I guess we kinda are, ain't we?
Most certainly, I don't know what I'd do without my boys.
She throws an affectionate glance at Buster too, including him. The gruff older dog tries to play it off, but can't hide how touched he is.
Enough of the sentimental stuff. We stick together 'cause it's smart, that's all. Increase our odds out here.
But nobody's fooled. Buster's secret soft side is clear as day. Scout smiles knowingly.
Ain't no shame in it, Buster. Everybody needs somebody, especially in a world as hard as this one.
You hold on to each other. You hear? Having a family's worth more than all the scraps and territory in the city. The trio exchanges looks, Scout's words hitting home. The bonds between them have grown so gradually they've barely noticed. But now it's crystallized. They're not just friends, they're family. And they'll do anything for each other. Suburban street, day. Life goes on for our little pack. Rascal, Lottie, Buster, and Scout trotting down the sidewalk together, weaving around pedestrians and begging for scraps. They're a well-oiled machine, charming treats out of passers-by with puppy eyes and trick. The four relaxing in the park on a sunny day, playing and roughhousing like carefree pups. Scout's wounds are nearly gone now, his coat sleek and healthy again. Rascal and Lottie curled together beneath a flowering bush, deep in a moment of tender affection. Buster and Scout exchange knowing looks before discreetly making themselves scarce to give the lovebirds privacy. The pack working together to raid a hot dog cart, while a vendor's back is turned, executing the heist with military precision. They make off with their loot, laughing and yipping in triumph. Throughout it all, the love and loyalty between this unlikely little family is palpable. They've created a pocket of warmth and safety midst the harshness of street life. A car bearing the city's animal control logo drives slowly down the street, an ominous reminder of the ever-present threats. City Street, evening. Rascal, Lottie's, Buster, and Scout are heading back to their usual alley to bed down for the night. Scout pauses suddenly, ears perking and nose twitching.
Hold up a second, folks. You smell that?
Buster lifts his nose to the wind, alarmed. His eyes widen.
Smoky, and a lot of it. Coming from the direction of our squat.
What? Trouble. Rascal breaks into a run, the others hot on his heels. The pack skids around the corner to find their cardboard shelter going up in flames, the narrow alley choked with thick black smoke. Lottie yelps in dismay.
Our home, what's happened?
Buster squints through the smoke and sees a pile of smouldering rags, clearly the source of the fire. His nose picks up a familiar, insidious scent around it.
It was those damn punks from before. I'd bet me tail on it. They must have tracked us back here to get their revenge for us running them off.
Rascal snarls, enraged by the cruelty and cowardice of the act. But Lottie's frightened whimper snaps him out of it.
Everybody out now. This whole place could go up any second. Move, move.
The pack backs quickly away from the spreading flames, huddling together across the alley. They watch in horrified silence as their meager shelter burns to ash.
Everything we had was in there. All our food, our blankets.
Worse than that. It was our safe place. Now we're gonna be sleeping exposed until we can find a new hidey hole.
Lottie presses against Rascal, trembling. He licks her head comfortingly, even as his own heart twists with anger and fear. We'll figure it out. We always do. The main thing is, we're all okay. But even as he says it, Rascal can't help but feel a chill of foreboding. It's not just their temporary den that's gone up in smoke. Aye, it's their fragile sense of security. The world seems a crueler, colder place than it did just hours before. City Park, dawn. The pack, exhausted and soot-streaked, all huddles together beneath a park bench. It's clear none of them got much sleep. Buster stands stiffly, wincing from old aches exacerbated by the hard ground.
Getting too old for this rugged living. Be it enough we're always scrambling for grub and watching our tails. Now we gotta worry about vindictive little punks coming after us too.
It's all so horrible. Why would those awful boys do something so mean and dangerous? We never did anything to them.
They're bullies, plain and simple. They see us as easy targets to make themselves feel tough and powerful. Well, I ain't gonna stand for it. Not anymore.
What are you thinking, Rascal? I know you're sore over what happened, we all are. But starting a war with those kids is only gonna make things worse.
Rascal paces agitatedly, his usually cheery expression stormy. I ain't saying we go looking for payback. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna spend one more night huddled up and helpless, just waiting for the next bad thing to happen. There's got to be a better way for us to live than this. The others exchange uncertain looks. As much as they all wish for a safer, easier life, and the streets are all they know, change seems as scary as it does unlikely.
I hear you, kid. But this is the hand we've been dealt. Ain't much we can do to change our lot, except stick together and keep surviving as best we can.
Rascal shakes his head stubbornly, unwilling to accept this. His eyes are distant, fixed on the horizon as if searching for an answer. That ain't good enough. Not anymore. We deserve better than scraps and cruelty, and always being on guard. There's got to be some kind of safe haven out there, even for mutts like us. And I ain't gonna rest till I find it for us. Lottie gazes at Rascal with a mix of wonder and apprehension, urged by his conviction, but scared of where it might lead.
Oh, darling, I want that beautiful dream too. But how would we even begin to find such a place?
The city is so big and uncaring. Rascal turns to Lottie, his eyes blazing with determination, even as they gentled with a love for her. We start by believing it exists, by refusing to settle for the scraps folks throw us just 'cause we had the bad luck to be born in the gutter. I know in my heart there's got to be some place out there where even the lowliest mutt can be safe and cared for. A place where the world makes sense and is fair and kind. And I'm going to find it for you, Lottie. I swear it. For all of us. He looks around at his ragtag family, these battered souls who've come to mean everything to him. Slowly, the uncertainty in their expression transforms into the fragile but powerful hope. Well, if anyone can pull off a fool's dream like that, it'd be you, kid. You got more heart and guts than any 10 dogs I know.
I'm with you too, Rascal. All the way. You gave me my life back when those punks would have ended it. The least I can do is help you chase down a better one for all of us.
Lottie says nothing, just presses herself against Rascal and licks his cheek. Her eyes shine with complete faith and adoration. Rascal takes a deep breath, warmed and humbled by his family's trust. Then it's settled. Starting now, we're going on the hunt for a place to call our own. A real home where we'll never have to be scared or hungry again. The pack exchanges determined looks, their tails starting to wag despite the enormity of the task ahead. For the first time, home feels like more than an impossible dream. It feels like a mission. Suburban street, day. Rascal leads the way as the pack explores a well-manicured suburban neighborhood, a far cry from their usual urban haunts. Lush lawns and white picket fences stretch as far as the eye can see.
What is this place? Smells a whole lot nicer than the city.
This here's what they call the suburbs. Kinda like the city, but without all the noise and crowds and trash. Where the fancy folks live.
Seems too clean and proper by half. Bound to be a trick. What are we doing here, kid?
We're looking for our ticket to do the good life. That's what. You saw how them hoity-toity pooches live back there, with their velvet collars and humans waiting on 'em hand and paw. Maybe a place like this is just the answer to our prayers.
Do you really think dogs like us could ever belong somewhere so tidy? I can't help but worry we'd be run off the second we set paw here.
Rascal nuzzles her reassuringly, though a hint of doubt flickers in his own eyes. We ain't gonna know less we try, sweetheart. Sides, even if this exact place ain't right. Seeing. How the other half lives might give us some ideas on how to make our own luck. So keep those beautiful peepers peeled. The pack continues on, marvelling at the spacious yards and glittering cars. But the few humans they pass eye them suspiciously, giving them a wide berth and muttering about strays. Buster huffs.
They can smell the streets on us. Probably think we're here to raid their garbage and chew up their begonias.
Maybe this wasn't such a good idea. I'm getting a real unwelcome vibe. But before they can discuss it further, a sleek greyhound comes loping across a yard towards them, yapping excitedly. Rascal puts on his friendliest face.
Well, hello there, neighbour. Nice digs you got here. We were just admiring your lovely town.
The greyhound skids to a stop a few feet from the pack, his manner suddenly shifting from curious to imperious.
Yes, quite. And who might you be? I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Name's Rascal, and these here are my best pals, Buster, Scout, and the lovely Miss Lottie. We're, new in town. Just trying to get a feel for the place, you know. The greyhound sniffs, his narrow face pinched with disdain as he takes in the pack's less than pristine appearance.
I see. Well, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place. This is a respectable neighborhood, and we don't take kindly to transients. I suggest you move along.
Now wait just a minute, you stuck up.
Rascal cuts him off with a warning look, though his own hackles are rising at the greyhound snobbery.
Oh, come on now, pal. No need to be like that. We ain't here to cause no trouble. Just a couple of world-weary travellers looking for a place to rest our paws a spell.
Yes, well, I'm afraid you'll have to do your resting elsewhere. We have standards to uphold here.
Perhaps you'd feel more comfortable in lesser part of town now, if you'll excuse me. I have more important matters to attend to than chatting with riffraff.
With that, the greyhound turns up his long nose and prances back to his yard, leaving the pack stunned and stinging from the slight.
I guess it was foolish of us to think we could ever be accepted in a place like this. We're just riffraff, like he said.
Now you stop that kind of talk right now, you hear? That hoity-toity bag of bones don't know nothing about us. We got just as much right to a good life as him. Fancy papers or not.
The kid's right. I knows it stings to be looked down on. But that don't make that highfalutin snob right about us.
Maybe so, but he was right about one thing. We sure won't be finding our place here. This town's made it clear it doesn't want our kind around.
Rascal's expression is stormy. his jaw set with stubborn determination.
Then we'll just have to keep looking till we find a place that does. A neighbourhood that can see past a ratty coat and appreciate a dog for what's in his heart. And when we find it, we'll make it ours.
Simple as that. The pack exchanges doubtful but hopeful looks, bolstered by Rascal's unwavering optimism and determination. Come on now, no more long faces. So this place was a bust. So what? It's a great big world out there. Our perfect home is waiting. We just gotta sniff it out. And if going, by the looks of this fancy place is any clue, we're gonna love it to pieces when we find it. With renewed determination, Rascal leads his pack back out of the suburbs, their heads held high despite the sting of rejection. Their dream is still out there, and they won't stop searching until they make it a reality. Open countryside, day. A bright sun beams down on rolling green hills and swaying wildflowers. It's a picture of natural serenity. Until Rascal comes bounding over the crest of a hill, his pack hot on his heels, all panting and yipping with excitement.
Would you get a load of this place? Wide open space as far as the nose can smell.
I've never seen so much green in all my life. And the air, it's so fresh and sweet.
Gotta hand it to you, kid. This is a far sight better than them hoity-toity suburbs. A mutt can breathe out here.
Scout is already off chasing Butterfly. So slides through the tall grass, barking gleefully. The others exchange delighted grins before charging off to join him, reveling in the feeling of space and freedom. The dogs sprint through sun-dappled fields, laughing as they leap to snap at low-flying birds. They splash exuberantly in a cool stream, dunking each other and shaking off sprays of glittering water droplets.
Lottie and Rascal chase each other around a magnificent old tree, playing hide-and-seek among its roots, while Scout and Buster snooze contentedly in the shade.
The pack naps in a heap amidst a colourful patch of wildflowers, the very picture of peace and contentment. As the montage ends, we see them flopped beneath their tree, as the afternoon turns to early evening, worn out from their play, but blissfully happy.
This place is a regular slice of heaven on earth. I ain't never felt so peaceful in all my days.
I'm man enough to admit when I've been wrong. And I were in dead wrong when I thought all that talk about green pastures and happily ever afters was a bunch of hooey. This here's the life we was meant for. Rascal and Lottie exchange a look of pure joy and triumph. Rascal jumps to his feet, his eyes misty, but his grin a mile wide. This is it, fellas. This is what we've been searching for all along. A place where we can just be dogs.
No more begging for scraps, no more dodging kicks, no more falling asleep cold and hungry and scared. From now on, it's nothing but green grass and blue skies, and all the time in the world to enjoy 'em.
You were right all along, my love. You never stopped believing there was a better life waiting for us. And you found it, you brilliant, wonderful mutt.
She leaps into his arms, covering his face with joyful licks. Rascal grins crookedly, returning her affections with gusto.
Shucks, all I did was chase down a dream for us. It's like my mama always said, good things come to them what works for 'em. And I'd say we worked our fair share to get here. That we did, kid. That we did.
The pack clusters together, tails wagging and hearts full to bursting. The future stretches before them like the rolling green hills, beautiful and unspoiled, and theirs for the taking. Wildflower field, day, an idyllic morning. Rascal and Lottie romp together through the swaying flowers, playing tag and pouncing at butterflies. They're both laughing, a pure, unburdened sound, as natural as birdsong. They finally flop down side by side, panting happily. I still can't believe this is our life now. It feels like a beautiful dream I never want to wake from. Believe it, sweetheart. We're home now, and I reckon we're gonna be for a good long while. Lottie nuzzles against him, her eyes soft with love and gratitude. Rascal gazes back, his cocky grin melting into an expression of utter tenderness. You know, all my life I thought I was just a no-account alley mutt. Thought the best I could hope for was full belly and a dry place to sleep. But now, with you and Buster and Scout, now I know I was meant for more. We all were. And come what may, I'm gonna spend the rest of my days making sure we all get to live the kind of life we deserve. The kind of life you deserve.
Oh, Rascal.
I love you, Miss Lottie. More than anything in this world or the next. You're my forever girl, all rolled into one gorgeous package. And I'm gonna spend my every waking moment showing you just how much you mean to me. And I love you, my darling boy, with everything I am and will ever be. You're my savior, my hero, and my heart. And nothing will ever part us now, not even the stars above. She leans in, and they share a long, deep kiss, pouring all their love and devotion into the embrace. As they pull apart, they gaze at each other with wonder, marveling at the depth of the connection between them. Suddenly, Buster comes charging over the hill, Scout hot on his heels. They're both grinning ear to ear.
Rascal! Lottie, you ain't gonna believe what we found.
This better be good to warrant interrupting a fella's private time with his lady.
Just wait till you see. Come on, it's right over the hill.
Intrigued, Rascal and Lottie follow their friends over the rise and stop dead in their tracks, jaws dropping at the sight before them. Nestled in the valley below is a cozy little farmhouse, smoke puffing cheerily from the chimney. The yard is an explosion of colourful blooms and climbing vines, and a babbling brook runs right through it all. It looks like something out of a storybook.
Welcome to paradise, kiddos. What do you think? Is this a place a bunch of mutts could hang their hats or what?
Buster, you old so-and-so. You really outdid yourself this time.
It's perfect, absolutely perfect.
And that ain't even the best part. I sniffed us out some new neighbors. And you'll never guess who they are.
Before Rascal can ask, a flurry of delighted barks and yaps splits the air. Out from behind the farmhouse comes a motley pack of discernible shapes and sizes, mutts and purebreds alike. They come bounding across the grass towards Rascal and his crew. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. Looks like this little slice of heaven is already home to a bunch of street hounds just like us. The two packs come together in a whirl of sniffing noses, wagging tails, and happy yelps. It's clear they recognize in each other a shared history of hardship and a shared triumph in overcoming it. As they playfully tussle in the grass, it feels like a beautiful new beginning. Farmhouse porch. Evening. The yard is filled with a vast array of pooches, all piled together in clusters of newfound friendship. Rascal and Lottie are curled up with Scout and Buster, a picture of blissful contentment. An old grizzled sheepdog with a wise, kindly face hops up onto the porch. This is Chief, the unofficial leader of the valley's ragtag canine crew. He surveys the scene with a smile.
Welcome one and all to our little patch of the good life. It warms my old bones to see so many new faces ready to leave their hard luck pasts behind and start fresh.
The yard fills with appreciative ruffs and yips. Chief's eyes find Rascal summer twinkling with gentle knowing.
Especially you, young rascal. I've heard tell of how you and your pack searched high and low for a place to call your own, never giving up on the dream of a better tomorrow. That's the kind of grit and hope this place was founded on.
Rascal sits up a little straighter, humble but proud. I didn't do nothing special, Chief. I just wanted me and mine to have a shot at a good life, same as any dog.
Don't you believe a word of that, Chief. My Rascal's the bravest, most loyal pup that ever walked on 4 paws. He saved us all, in more ways than one.
She ain't wrong. The kid's got a heart as big as they come, and more gumption than any 10 regular dogs. We'd follow him to the ends of the earth.
Hear, hear.
The whole yard erupts in affectionate agreement, the other dogs chiming in with their own stories of how Rascal touched their lives. Rascal ducks his head, overwhelmed and deeply moved.
Well, one thing's for sure. You're a pup who inspires devotion, Rascal, my boy. But then, that's the mark of a true leader.
Leader? I don't know about that. I ain't never.
You've already been doing it, son. Every time you put your pack first, every time you refuse to give up on finding something better, it's in your bones, and I reckon this pack of foundlings could use a pup like you to help guide them in this new life.
Rascal looks around at the shining faces of his friends, both old and new. In their eyes he sees trust, respect, and a fierce belief in him. Slowly, he sits up tall, a new sense of purpose kindling in his heart. I'll do my best, Chief. If these folks really want me to lead 'em, I'll give it everything I've got. We know you will, my love. And we'll be right beside you every step of the way.
No doubt about it, kid. You were born for this.
As the pack clusters around Rascal, all nuzzling and licking him in a show of loyal devotion, he feels a sense of belonging and purpose, unlike anything he's ever known. For a dog who started with nothing, he sure ended up with everything that mattered. Rascal and Lottie, cuddled up in a shaft of sunlight on the porch, gazing lovingly into each other's eyes. The whole pack romping merrily through the blooming fields, yipping and playing like carefree pups. Buster and Scout, snoozing contentedly in the shade of an old oak, their paws twitching as they chase dream rabbits. The pack splashing and paddling in the brook, cool water sparkling in their fur. Rascal leading a group of pups on a mock hunt through the tall grass, their little tails wagging with glee. The whole pack howling joyfully at the moon, their voices raised in a hauntingly beautiful canine chorus. Rascal is stepping into his role as a leader with growing confidence, mediating squabbles and offering guidance to his fellow foundling mutts. He bears the mantle of leadership with the same devotion and humour that have always defined him. Farmhouse porch. Day. The whole pack is clustered around the porch steps, watching with wagging tails as Rascal and Lottie stand side by side facing them. The couple's eyes are shining with joy and their paws are entwined. Friends, I stand before you today, the happiest, luckiest mutt that ever lived. Yeah, I found me a family, a home, and a love so true it outshines the sun, and I reckon I've got all of you to thank for it.
We both do. You opened your hearts and welcomed us into your fold, and in doing so, made us feel we truly belong for the first time in our lives.
All right. Enough with the sap, you two. Get on with it already.
Fond chuckles ripple through the crowd. Rascal and Lottie grin at each other. too blissfully happy to be ruffled by the good-natured heckling. Right you are, Buster, old pal. No sense beating round the bush. The lovely Miss Lottie and I have decided that it's high time we make our love official.
We're getting married.
Wild cheers and howls of delight erupt from the pack. Tails wag frantically and paws stamp the ground in gleeful approval. And of course, we want you all right up there with our Agsuk when we say our vows. It just wouldn't be right, getting hitched without our family by our side. The cheers swell even louder at that. Suddenly, Chief makes his way through the crowd, his grizzled face split by a mile-wide grin. He hops up onto the porch and faces the ecstatic couple.
Rascal, Lottie, it would be my deepest honour to officiate your union, if you'll have me, of course.
Rascal and Lottie exchange a surprised, delighted look.
Oh, Chief, of course. Nothing would make us happier.
Chief, I don't know what to say. Except that it's us who'd be honoured. Chief dips his head, deeply moved. Then he throws his head back in a joyful howl, one that's quickly picked up by the entire pack, until the farmyard rings with a deafening canine chorus of elation. As Rascal and Lottie beam at each other, surrounded by the love and joy of their ragtag family. Sunlight slants through the leafy canopy of a natural woodland cathedral. Wildflowers carpet the ground and climb the tree trunks in splashes of vibrant colour. The farmyard pack is gathered in a large semicircle, their fur groomed to shining and their eyes bright with anticipation. Chief stands at the front beneath a flowering arch, his normally scruffy coat brushed till it gleams. Suddenly a hush falls over the assembled dogs. All heads turn as Rascal appears at the end of the makeshift aisle, his grey fur sleek and his head held high with quiet pride. He trots down the aisle to stand beside Chief, tail wagging slowly and with eager joy. Buster and Scout take their places on either side of Rascal, acting as joint best mans. They both wink at him encouragingly, their eyes suspiciously misty. Then the crowd parts, and a collective gasp goes up as Lottie makes her entrance. She looks radiant, a crown of daisies encircling her brow, and her cream coat shining like spun gold in the dappled sunlight. She practically floats down the aisle, her eyes locked on Rascal's adoring face. As she reaches the arch, Rascal takes her paw tenderly in his. Ere they face each other, lost in the depths of each other's loving gaze.
Friends, we are gathered here today to celebrate the union of two very special pups. Rascal and Lottie have journeyed far to find each other, overcoming hardships and heartaches that would have broken lesser dogs. But through it all, their love and devotion never wavered.
Murmurs of agreement and approval ripple through the canine congregation. Many eyes are openly wet with tears of joy.
In each other they found not only the truest of companions, but a piece of themselves they never knew was missing. And, in doing so, they showed us all the power of love, to heal, to inspire, and to make a family out of even the most unlikely of souls.
Rascal and Lottie beam at each other, paws entwined and tails gently waving in perfect sync.
And so, without further ado, Rascal, do you take Lottie to be your wedded wife? To love, honour, and cherish, in good times and bad, for all the days of your life?
I do. With all my heart and soul, I do.
And Lottie, do you take Rascal to be your wedded husband? To love, honour, and cherish, in good times and bad, for all the days of your life?
I do. Now and forever, with every beat of my heart.
Then by the power vested in me, by the love and trust of this pack, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Rascal, my boy, you may kiss your bride.
Cheers and howls of elation fill the grove as Rascal and Lottie melt into a deep soul to a kiss. As they break apart, they are immediately swarmed by their pack, drowning in licks and nuzzles of congratulations. The pack eventually settles, all smiling fit to bust. Rascal and Lottie gaze around at their beloved friends, their family, and then at each other.
This is really happening. We're really married. Oh, darling, is it possible to die of happiness?
If it is, then I'm a dead dog walking. But what a way to go, eh? Falling into forever with you by my side. They share another kiss, prompting whistles and good-natured groans from the pack.
All right, break it up, you sappy lovebirds. Time to get this party started.
You heard the geezer. Let's celebrate.
Honeymoon Meadow Night. A carpet of lush grass and moonflowers stretches beneath a canopy of stars. Fireflies dance through the warm summer air, casting a twinkling glow. Rascal and Lottie lay curled together in the centre of the meadow, bathed in pale moonlight. They gaze into each other's eyes, lost in a world consisting only of the two of them. I keep thinking I'm gonna wake up and this'll all have been a dream. The farm, the pack, you.
If it is a dream, then we're both having the same beautiful one, and I never, ever want to wake up.
I still can't wrap my mind around it. A scrappy street mutt like me, blessed with a love as pure and good as yours. I must be the luckiest dog alive.
Luck has nothing to do with it, my darling. You earned this happiness through every act of bravery and kindness and selflessness that makes you who you are. I am the lucky one, to be loved by a heart as true as yours.
Rascal's eyes mist over, overcome with emotion. He leans in and captures Lottie's mouth in a kiss filled with passion and tenderness in equal measure. As they lose themselves in their embrace, the sounds of the summer night swell around them in a symphony of crickets and distant howls. It's the perfect accompaniment to the love song of two hearts. Finally, closes son joyfully whole. Farmhouse yard. Day. Some months later. And autumn has turned the farmyard into a riot of golds and crimsons. A lively bustle fills the crisp air as the pack goes about their daily lives. Rascal stands atop the porch steps, overseeing the cheerful chaos with a fond eye. Lottie bounds up beside him, nuzzling against his side.
And what's got you in such a contemplative mood, my love? Composing a poem to the beauty of fall?
Nothing so high-minded, Angel. Just thinking about how different things look now compared to a year ago. Heck, even a few months ago. Never could have imagined a raggedy bunch of strays like us would ever have a place and pack to call our own. Lottie gazes out at their romping family, her eyes soft.
It does feel like a beautiful dream we've stumbled into, doesn't it? But then, that's always been your special magic. Chasing down impossible dreams and making them real.
Just then, Scout comes bounding over, tail wagging excitedly.
Rascal! Lottie! You gotta come quick! We got newcomers at the gate, and you'll never guess who they are!
Rascal and Lottie exchange a curious glance before following Scout at a trot towards the front of the property. At the gate stands a bedraggled cluster of dogs, all thin and wary-eyed, but with a spark of desperate hope in their faces. At the head of the group is a painfully familiar silhouette, the greyhound from the suburbs all those months ago.
Why I never. Is that...
It sure is. Mr. High and Mighty, from Snooty Acres. They reach the gate. The greyhound dips his head, clearly deeply uncomfortable. The other dogs watch the exchange with trepidation.
I apologize for the intrusion, and for my previous deplorable behavior. I'm afraid
All of us find ourselves fallen on rather desperate times. If we could just beg a morsel and moment of rest, we'll soon be on our way. Rascal and Lottie stare, shocked by this change in circumstances and demeanour. It's clear the prissy suburban dogs have been through a hard road to end up on their doorstep. After a moment of heavy silence, Rascal steps forward, holding the greyhound's pleading stare. Then his face softens into a warm, welcoming smile. Now you listen here. Ain't nobody biggin' at this gate, you hear? You're all welcome to stay, no grovelling required. Seems to me you folks look like you could use a family right about now. The greyhound gapes, moved beyond words. Behind him, his ragged companions break into relieved, disbelieving smiles.
What my husband means to say is, welcome home. We've got a warm barn and full bowls waiting for you.
Tearful thank yous and blessings are showered on the couple as they lead the newcomers into the yard. The rest of the pack streams over to offer their own greetings and nuzzling welcomes. As Rascal watches the joyful scene, his heart feels full to bursting. It's funny how life can turn on a dime. One day you're scrounging for scraps on the streets, the next you're the top dog in your very own slice of paradise. But the real treasure, the thing I thank my lucky stars for every day. He looks around at the motley, wonderful family romping through the golden-strewn yard, his eyes landing last on Lottie. She meets his gaze, her own filled with the boundless love that never fails to stop his heart. It's belonging, knowing that no matter what the world throws at you, you've got a place and a pack that'll always be there to catch you. A love that'll never let you down. Rascal bounds down the porch steps to embrace his wife, laughing as the pack swirls joyfully around them. We see a patchwork of happy hounds, mutts and purebreds alike, all brought together by the love and leadership of one extraordinary dog. Rascal and Lottie are in their favourite meadow, a gaggle of roly-poly puppies tumbling around their paws. They're the spitting image of their parents, Rascal's mischievous grin and Lottie's warm eyes in miniature. How'd we get so lucky, baby?
It's like you always say, somebody up there must like us.
The two share a laughing look as their pups clamber over them, yipping and licking. It's a snapshot of pure bliss that says no matter what the future holds, our hero and his love will have a happily ever after for the ages. The end.